In the dimly lit recesses of my memory, I can still vividly recall the day I met him, the most dangerous friend I would ever come to know. His name was Felix, and to the untrained eye, he was just an ordinary guy. But from the very beginning, there was something unsettling about him that I couldn't quite put my finger on. We met during my first semester at college. I was an introverted freshman, struggling to find my place in this new world of independence and uncertainty. Felix, on the other hand, was charismatic, confident, and effortlessly popular. We were assigned as roommates in the cramped dormitory, a twist of fate that would forever alter the course of my life. At first, Felix seemed like the perfect friend. He introduced me to a circle of friends, took me to parties, and made me feel like I belonged. But as the weeks went by, I began to notice strange things about him. He had an uncanny ability to predict events before they happened. Trivial things like guessing the next song on the radio or anticipating the outcome of a football game. It was as if he possessed some supernatural knowledge of the world. One night, as we were walking back to our dorm after a party, Felix stopped dead in his tracks, his eyes fixed on a distant tree, and a sinister grin crept across his face. "Watch this," he whispered, and before my eyes, the tree burst into flames. I stood there, dumbfounded, as the fire danced and crackled, defying all logic and reason. It was a display of power beyond anything I had ever witnessed. As the days turned into weeks, Felix's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He would disappear for days on end, only to return with wild stories of his adventures. He claimed to have traveled to distant lands, met ancient cults, and communed with entities from other dimensions. I couldn't tell if he was lying or if he had truly ventured into the realms of the supernatural. My fear of Felix intensified when he began to exhibit strange physical changes. His skin grew pale, almost translucent, and his eyes took on an otherworldly glow. He stopped eating and would often be found in a trance-like state, muttering incantations in a language I couldn't understand. I confided in a professor, Dr. Hawthorne, who specialized in the occult. He agreed to meet with Felix, and after their encounter, he pulled me aside with a grave expression. "Your friend," he said, "is dabbling in forces far beyond his comprehension. He has made a dangerous pact, and I fear that he is no longer fully human." I knew I had to confront Felix. When I returned to our dorm, I found him in the midst of a dark ritual. Candles flickered, and a pentagram was etched into the floor. He chanted incantations in a language that sent shivers down my spine. But what truly terrified me was the figure that materialized before him. A shadowy, monstrous entity that exuded pure malevolence. "Felix, stop!" I cried out. He turned to me, his eyes ablaze with an unholy fire. "It's too late," he hissed. "I've become more powerful than you can imagine." The entity, sensing my presence, lunged toward me. I felt a searing pain as its cold, skeletal fingers brushed against my skin. In that moment, I knew I had to act. With every ounce of strength I could muster, I hurled a vial of holy water at Felix. The room erupted in a blinding flash of light, and the entity shrieked in agony before dissipating into the ether. When the smoke cleared, Felix lay on the floor, his body charred and lifeless. The room was in ruins, the walls scorched by supernatural flames. I had survived, but I knew that I could never truly escape the horrors I had witnessed. As I look back on that fateful night, I realized that Felix had indeed become the most dangerous friend I could have ever imagined. His thirst for power and knowledge had led him down a dark and treacherous path, and in the end, it consumed him entirely.